Hello Perfect Beauties, my name is Daisy and today I am going to tell you the story of how I got mugged, how it has made me feel after the fact, and some tips that I would advise for you so you don't ever have to experience something like that. Now, I got mugged about 5 months ago and I didn't make a video or I didn't tell anyone about it or like anyone who didn't know me personally, simply because this person has all my shit, like everything that is valuable to me. I guess identity-wise, so I just didn't want him to find my YouTube channel. And in Beverly Hills, about 2 blocks from Rodeo Drive, which is like the place you would least expect anywhere to get mugged. So basically, I went to the Equinox at Beverly Hills and I was gonna meet up with a friend for dinner in Beverly Hills or something like that later. So I wanted to park kind of in between where we're gonna have dinner to the gym, and the gym only has like 2-hour parking and I didn't want to like have to move my car. Anyway, so I parked a little bit further away. And basically, went to the gym, worked out, blah, blah, blah. And then I had all my stuff. Now I had my purse, my gym bag, I had some leftover food. I was carrying a shit ton of stuff for whatever reason that day. And I had a shit ton of stuff that was all like a lot of stuff, but nothing super valuable, thank God. Thank God for that. So I was walking, and in that area, it's a very, very established, well-off area, and very surprisingly, it's super dim in that neighborhood. There are like no street lights and there's no lights whatsoever. And so I'm walking and I'm like, wow, this is really strange how this neighborhood has absolutely no lights because it is so dark and I couldn't really see what was going on. And it was only like a couple blocks from, Rodeo Drive and like all the nice shops. So I was just like, whoa, that's weird. I saw a few people walking their dogs, whatever, like normal things. And this was in November or October. I think it was in October when daylight savings happened and all that kind of stuff. So it was getting darker earlier. And I did notice, like when I was crossing the street, at the end of the street, there was a really shabby car with its lights on. And I had this weird feeling about this car. I was like, whoa, what is this car doing here? Because I was like, why would a car like that be in a neighborhood like this, right? Everywhere it was like Mercedes, Bentleys, really nice new cars that were all really clean and pristine. And this was like a really shabby car, like the paint peeling off, 1993 model Toyota, whatever. And I had this feeling that something wasn't right. And I think that's a huge lesson I've learned, is when something doesn't feel right in your gut, you have to trust it. Because I was like, what is going on? And then I started thinking about like who would be in that car or who would be using that car. I was like, well, maybe, they're housekeepers, working here, or maybe it's a janitor, or maybe, someone who's fixing the driveway, or a gardener, maybe it's their car. And it was funny because the car was on like this side of the street, and as I was walking towards the car, I wasn't even thinking about, hey Daisy, maybe you should go on the other side of the street because there's a weird car there. I kept thinking of reasons why the car would be parked there. And the lights were on and the car was running, and so that's also another weird sign, and things just felt weird and off. And basically what happened was, as soon as I kind of came to the realization that something wasn't right, this guy comes out from one of the back seats or the back door, and he runs towards me. And at that moment, I knew exactly what was going on, and it was the weirdest feeling of my life. I remember exactly what the guy looked like, what he was wearing, what the car looked like, everything. I remember it verbatim. I remember what I was wearing. I remember what kind of makeup I had on. I remember everything crystal clear. And he came over and he came to me, and I knew exactly what was going on, and I just pulled my arms out. And even before he actually came up to me, I knew he was coming to take me or my stuff. So basically he came to me, I screamed because I was in shock. I knew he was coming to attack me in some way, but I didn't know how. And he came, and all my stuff was like on my arms here, and I pulled out my arms and he just grabbed them and then ran back into the car. And it was such a weird experience because I was so calm at the time, But everything was so delayed and everything was such in slow motion. I can't tell you, I just remember everything about it. And the feeling was, oh my God, he's gonna push me in the back of his trunk. Oh my God, he's gonna rape and murder me. You know, oh my God, this is going to be on the news, or I'm gonna be missing. And I mean, after thinking of my family, and this is all going on when he was like coming towards me, like I had all these thoughts all of a sudden. I was thinking after my family, like, oh my God, what are they gonna do without me? I was thinking, what about my YouTube channel? You know, like who's gonna make videos if I'm gonna get killed? Who's gonna make videos on my YouTube channel, because I'm not gonna be here to make videos for you guys. And I don't know, it was this weird thought process of me not being here, and that you guys would notice if I stopped uploading, and maybe like call the police and maybe tell them that I was missing or something like that, you know? And I have just so much, I guess from that experience, I realized how much my YouTube channel means to me, because you guys, seriously, YouTube was like the first thing that popped into my head. Like, it was weird because the first thing that popped into my head was, oh my God, who's gonna make YouTube videos? Like, this channel is gonna stop, you know? And and it was kind of when he was coming towards me and I thought he was gonna take me into his car and kill me. I was just like, oh my God, you know, what's gonna happen to my YouTube channel? Oh my God, is anyone gonna tell the police about Dazers89 has stopped uploading for like a month now? Like, is something like wrong with her? You know, she hasn't posted on Instagram, is everything okay? And then I thought, you know, like, if I didn't have family, which I do, and I'm very, very lucky for them, but if I were someone who didn't have any family, you guys are like my family, right? You guys are people who watch me and who really care about me, and I'm sure that if something like that were to happen where I didn't give an explanation of why I just left off the face of the earth and didn't communicate with anyone online, I'm sure somebody would say something, and I don't know if anybody would report it, but I'm sure it would be something like, you know, where is she? You know, what's happening to her? And I think that's really, I don't know, I just feel like it's, or like maybe like if people were to see me and I was kidnapped, like people would be able to recognize me, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, YouTube was like the thing that popped into my head like immediately when I got mugged. And it was such a crazy experience because I totally thought he was gonna take me in his car and kill me, and like my life not flashed before my eyes, but I had this almost calming sense that it was gonna be over soon in terms of him trying to kill me. I don't know, I just had this feeling he was gonna come violate me. So after that fact, I was in shock, and I called the police, and then I started crying, and I wasn't making any sense. And it's weird because when it happens, the incident, you're super calm and you remember everything, but after the fact, you're like in a state of total shock. And he basically, it was really funny because thank goodness I was on my phone. I was on my phone texting or checking things out, or on Instagram. And because I was on my phone, when he came to me, my phone was in my palm, so he just took all the stuff from my arms and not my phone. And that is how I was able to call the police and all that. Lost so much stuff. I didn't really lose things like monetary wise. I probably lost maybe like $3,000 worth of things, or had to replace $3,000 worth of things, but it's not, you know, it could have been way worse. And that is why like I am so terrified of carrying designer bags or owning like a really expensive designer bags, because I now know someone from the street can just take it from you and bam, it's gonna be gone right like that, right? But the hassle was just getting my whole house rekeyed, getting a new identity card, getting, you know, I had to get my car rekeyed, I had to get everything rekeyed. I wanted to change a lot of my addresses on certain documents, and you know, it was just a really like scary process because he had everything, you know, all my identification, credit cards, like almost everything that I owned, all the keys to the most important places in my life. So I had to get all that replaced, which was a huge hassle. And I think, you know, the biggest, I guess, damage was the emotional damage that happened to me. The feeling of being violated, it was very much like I felt violated. Not cannot be in a dark area or space again. The other day I was getting gas or I was planning to get gas, but it was dark, and there's like this homeless guy sitting like near the gas station, and it's perfectly normal, I feel like, for homeless people to be hanging around the gas stations, but I just couldn't. I went up and then I drove by and I left because I just couldn't get out of my car, because, you know, when it's not many people around and it's dark and there's someone there, I just don't trust anyone anymore. And I don't ever really park my car in the street unless like I'm with a friend and we're walking together. But you know, in LA, parking is so expensive, and I hate paying for parking because it's like 20 bucks, right? And if you're like if you have a very active social life like I do, you don't want to pay 20 bucks every time you go out. So I usually like try to find street parking, but now I just don't. I just park in the garage because I just realized that that was such a stupid mistake for me to have parked on the street, and you know, I got mugged because of that. Takeaways from getting mugged. One, street parking. Don't be like me and do street parking. You might think you're in a safe area like Beverly Hills, like Rodeo Drive, which I was at, but just don't do street parking. Or if there's not a lot of lights where you are, which that neighborhood is just such a perfect place for criminal activity to occur because it's like hella pitch dark there. Just don't park places where it's dark, no matter how much money you save, because you're gonna lose more money if you're gonna get mugged. The second thing is, every time I walk now, I have a pepper spray. Now, I have never used a pepper spray in my life, well, like deliberately, but I feel like if I was walking down that really dark place, even though I had so many bags on my arm, if I walked like this, just, you know, in case someone were to come, this would have been so great at like thwarting the mugger, because the guy in the car, guy and his friend or whatever, in their car, they were looking for a target. They were looking for someone like me, someone who had so much stuff on her, someone who was on her phone, not paying attention. And I feel like if I had something like this holding out and like pointing it at something, they would just be like, oh, we're gonna go to a different target, you know? So even if you're not gonna use it, I just feel like it makes criminals look at you thinking, oh, she's prepared to fight, or she's, you know, she knows what she's doing, so I'm gonna find a target that will be less suspecting of, you know, less vigilant and cautious of things like that. So I definitely recommend you guys get one. You can get them on Amazon, they're like 10 bucks. I'll put the link below where I got this at like Target or Office Depot, or just get it for all your girlfriends or guy friends or whatever. And it's something that you're not gonna use, but it's just good to hold when it's dark outside. And you know, for me, it was just so strange because, you know, obviously I felt pressure being a woman in other aspects like career or relationship-wise or whatever, but I never felt like being a woman was a disadvantage in just day-to-day things. But I realized that, you know, as a female walking down the street, it's not safe, and the criminals are gonna probably be more likely to go after women than they are men, because we're just gonna be like, whatever, take our stuff. You know, we're not gonna put up a fight, we're easier targets. So yeah, carry one of these, and it's way easier to find your keys too if you just like put it down. So yeah, that's the next thing. And the last thing is just to trust your instincts. I mean, if something feels off, if something doesn't, the two and two don't go together, listen to that. I was, you know, for me, I was like trying to figure out why that car was there, and I kept walking, and by the time I was trying to figure it out, the guy came out, and there went all my stuff and my, you know, sense of dignity and all that. So just listen to your gut, listen to your intuition. Park far away, and you need to get to your car and it's dark outside, or you don't feel safe walking alone, take a taxi or take an Uber. If you guys don't know what Uber is, it's just like this app on your phone you call, and like people will give you a ride, like drivers will give you a ride. And I have a code below, you get like $30 free in credit if you guys do want to install the app and use that code. Those things, like use a taxi, use a transportation to get you right next to your car. Don't like, you know, take a bus and like walk half a mile in the dark, because that is, you know, whatever. Like call an Uber, so by the time you get off the bus stop, the Uber is going to take you from there to your car, so that way no mugger is going to come around because that Uber driver is like waiting for you, right? So those things I have learned. I think safety is so important. And you know, honestly, I grew up in Minnesota and nothing ever bad happened to me in Minnesota. Like, people in Minnesota, the place I lived in, nobody locked their cars, nobody locked their homes. Their garage doors would be open all day, all night. Like, it was just such a trusting community. And the first week I moved to California, I lived in San Francisco, and my GPS got stolen and my car got broken into. And so, you know, all these things, it's just a different world, you know, depending on where you live, and you just have to be constantly vigilant. And if you're like me and you don't think this can happen to you, or if you grew up in an area where this never happens, it can definitely happen to you. And thank goodness all they took was material things from me, because, you know, they could have brought me in their car and that would have just been, I just don't know what I would have done. And it was so easy for them to have done it, and I thank them so much that they didn't do it, because, you know, I'm still here and I'm still making YouTube videos. And yeah, I just care a lot about you guys, and I want you guys to know that if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. So just be really cautious and vigilant, and don't try to save a $20 parking garage fee by parking on the street and getting mugged or even worse. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if you guys got mugged, or I don't know, things have gotten stolen, or some kind of violation has happened to you or something like that. Let me know what you've learned from it, because I would love to give more like safety tips, or maybe like self-defense safety tips. I think it's just important to know these things in the back of your head in case, God forbid, though, something were to come up. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.